一个月生活费500元。
I have a 500 yuan budget for the month, and today I went out and bought one shrimp. Shrimp is quite expensive, so I only got one. I added lotus root, carrots, and potatoes, a bit of soy sauce, and I made a dry pot shrimp. I sprinkled some black sesame seeds and added green and red peppers, and the dish was done. Then I took the shrimp out for a little extra cooking. I peeled off the head and shell, put the shrimp meat in egg wash, and placed the head and shell on top of enoki mushrooms. I steamed it for 10 minutes. Afterward, I seasoned it with soy sauce and sprinkled some chopped green onions and black sesame seeds. The steamed eggs absorbed the flavor of the shrimp. Then I set the shrimp meat aside. I poured some sauce over the seafood mushrooms, took out the shrimp head and shell, and pan-fried them. Then I added a bowl of water, a few pieces of vegetables, and 2 crab-flavored mushrooms, seasoned with a little salt, and the seafood soup was ready. Next, I put the shrimp meat into the pan with rice, carrots, and corn. Stirred it a few times, and the seafood rice was done. The rice had absorbed all the flavors, so I removed the shrimp. Instead of eating the shrimp all at once, I cut it into small pieces, dipped it into vinegar, and enjoyed it. Look, 5 dishes and 1 soup, all made from seafood. After seeing this, don't you admire the creativity of the content creator? But wait, there's more. The next creator can make 8 dishes with just 1 ounce of beef.
I have a monthly budget of 300 yuan for living expenses. Today I bought some beef. First, I rendered the fat from the beef in the pan. Then I added bamboo shoots, salt, and bell peppers, and stir-fried them to make a simple bamboo shoot dish. Next, I took the beef out, put it back in the pan to render more fat, and added some green onions and bell peppers for a quick stir-fry. Now the double pepper beef stir-fry is ready. After that, I removed the beef again, put it back in the pan to render even more fat, added green onions, young ginger, salt, and water, and sprinkled in some chili peppers. The young ginger beef stir-fry is done. Then I took the beef out once more for another round. Without cleaning the pan, I added some oil, the beef, green onions, and potatoes, added water, simmered for 20 minutes, and seasoned with salt. Beef with potatoes is ready, finished with a sprinkle of chopped green onions. The beef was getting a bit tough by now. I tossed tomatoes into the pan, fried them briefly, added water, then returned the beef to the pot, added noodles, salt, and cilantro. Spicy braised beef noodles are done. I took the beef out again and separated the beef and the fat into small pieces. I stir-fried the fat with green onions, ginger, and garlic, added hot pot base, water, soy sauce, and oyster sauce, then threw in my favorite vegetables and cooked the beef briefly. After boiling, I added chili, Sichuan pepper, and garlic, and poured hot oil all over it. Water-boiled beef is ready. Finally, I fried the beef fat in the pan, added leftover rice from yesterday, stir-fried it with soy sauce and salt, and tossed in some green onions. Beef fat fried rice is complete. I skewered the remaining beef and peppers, fried them until both sides were golden brown, and sprinkled them with barbecue seasoning. The beef skewers are done. That makes 8 dishes in total.
Recently, such videos have gone viral on Chinese social media platforms. People are getting really creative, making the most out of every resource, and proudly calling these recipes practical ways for the poor to maintain a refined life. In reality, the popularity of these videos is mainly due to the current economic downturn, where consumption habits are shifting downward. These videos humorously and ironically reflect how people are coping with this new reality. Many people online are complaining that in the past 2 years, it's truly become difficult to make money. Their friends have lost jobs, their companies have shut down, or they've been laid off. Young people are finally coming to terms with the current economic situation and have completely lost confidence in the future. Not only is the idea of lying flat and relying on their parents becoming common, but saving money has also become an essential skill. Last year, topics like downgrading consumption, living simply, and money-saving hacks have been hotly discussed. The hashtag, "Why are young people becoming so stingy?" has garnered over 150 million views. On social media, groups like The Stingy Squad, Freebie Lovers, and Don't Buy It have become very active. To save money, young people who used to order takeout for every meal now prefer to spend 1 or 2 hours cooking at home and preparing lunchboxes. The middle class, who once splurged without a second thought, are now hunting for discount coupons online. Even the wealthy, who used to spend freely, have started to pinch pennies. Many people share their money-saving tips on platforms like Douyin and Xiaohongshu, often resonating with others and gaining a lot of views.
我发现真的可以花小钱。
I've realized that you can really live a more refined life by spending less. For example, when buying things, I always calculate which size or option gives the best value. After work, I go to the supermarket in the evening when the unsold vegetables and meat are usually on sale. You can really get some good deals this way. One trip to the supermarket can feed me for days. Cooking at home is not only fun, but also delicious. I've also stopped drinking milk tea. Just 1 cup costs as a week's worth of this combination I make. As for my jewelry box, it's mostly filled with gold. First, it's a good investment, and second, it adds a touch of elegance when pairing it with outfits. One thing others might not understand is that I often buy 2 identical pieces of clothing in different colors. Simple styles are easy to match and long-lasting. Now, I use the most basic skincare and makeup products because what's suitable for me is what's best, and there's no need to chase after luxury brands. If it meets my basic needs, that's enough. Living well on a small budget is definitely possible. There are also survival challenge videos that are gaining popularity. For example, one shows how to live on 50 yuan for a whole month, basically living on just $7 per month. Can you imagine what that kind of lifestyle looks like?
要想生存下去
The most important thing for survival is staples. First, I recommend noodles. You can get 10 kilos for less than 20 yuan on Pinduoduo. If you search for PDD discounts on secondhand platform Xianyu, you can find 25% off vouchers. Then, look for instant noodle seasoning packs. Just a few yuan for a jar that can last a month. They add flavor and help replenish sodium. Fat and protein are essential, so eggs are your best bet. You can buy 60 eggs for under 30 yuan. 2 eggs a day are enough to keep you going. Finally, a 5-yuan bottle of multivitamins to avoid any deficiencies. Besides Pinduoduo, there are many grocery platforms where you can grab discount coupons. If you're willing to spend time, you can save a lot. One user commented, "This is stinginess taken to the next level." But nowadays, young people have a saying, being stingy isn't shameful, being broke is.
以前我特别怕别人说我抠门
I used to be afraid of being called stingy, but after saving up my first chunk of money by being thrifty, I realized that there's nothing wrong with it. Today, I'll share a few painless habits for saving money. First, make good use of free stuff. When traveling, I always take home the disposable slippers, toothbrushes, and combs from hotels. They come in handy when guests visit. Old t-shirts, I cut them up and use them as cleaning rags. Use jars and bottles, perfect for storage, so I don't need to buy containers. Even the dust bags that come with handbags are great for organizing things when traveling. Some items don't need to be bought, just repurpose what you already have. Second, always go for basic styles when buying clothes and accessories. They may look simple, but they're practical. Third, don't shy away from doing things yourself. This pile of groceries cost me just 25 yuan. In Beijing, a takeout meal costs 20 to 30 yuan for one meal, but with the same amount, I can buy a lot of ingredients. I've also come to realize that cooking is the pinnacle of a high-quality life. And lastly, there's no need to always have the latest phone. I'm still using my iPhone 11. Being thrifty isn't about lowering your quality of life or being selfish. It's about understanding your desires rationally. Some comments on the forums seem humorous, but they also reveal a sense of hardship and helplessness. One user said, "I used to drink 2 cups of milk tea a day, each costing 20 or 30 yuan. Now I can't even afford milk tea, so I just stick to plain water." Another user shared, "The downgrade has made me question why I used to feel so rich. Back then, I earned 3,000 yuan a month and still couldn't make ends meet. Now I earn only 2,500 yuan, and somehow I can save 1,000. Another user said, "Other people talk about downgrading by not shopping, but I find that unrealistic. Daily essentials are still a must-buy. For me, the more obvious change is that I've fallen in love with Pinduoduo, and I even started writing reviews to get a 50-cent WeChat payment. Whether it's 50 cents or 1 yuan, I'm happy to make that extra bit because even the smallest amount counts." One user took things to another level. "After the downgrade, I look for budget alternatives everywhere. I use bottle caps for soap holders, milk tea bags for tissue storage, and I've even swapped face powder for baby powder. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough, and much cheaper. A box of baby powder costs just a few dozen yuan and lasts a year or 2. Plus, I've swapped my expensive skincare cream for glycerin. And my skin has never been better, no more dryness." A particularly tough guy born in the 80s shared that he pulled out his own bad tooth to save money. It hurt, but hey, he saved a few hundred yuan. Others shared their experiences of buying a hair clipper and never going to the barber again. One user wore a pair of 18 yuan sandals for 5 years and only bought socks in one color so they could mix and match when one got a hole. One user shared a story about her colleague, who is considered the most frugal person in her office. The company provides hot water, so the colleague brings a thermos to work every day. Not only does she use it at the office, but she also brings a full bottle of hot water home, saving on her water and electricity bills. She has a strict routine. She arrives at work 20 minutes early to brush her teeth, wash her face, and even wash her hair in the company bathroom. She rarely spends any extra money unless absolutely necessary. Others chimed in, saying that prices are skyrocketing, but wages aren't going up. In fact, some people have faced pay cuts and layoffs, so they've had to drastically downgrade their consumption. For example, instead of ordering takeout, many people are now getting by with just pickled vegetables and porridge. But even that's not cheap. Pickled vegetables are expensive, so why not make your own and save even more money? This has left pickled vegetable companies feeling frustrated. They assumed that as people downgraded their consumption, cheap products like pickled vegetables would still sell well. But who would have thought that people couldn't even afford those anymore? The company's Q2 profits fell by 15% to everyone's surprise. Milk tea shops are also feeling the pinch. Despite the intense competition, milk tea was once a daily indulgence. But with this wave of consumption downgrading, young people's spending power has been wiped out. The milk tea that used to be in everyone's hands has now been replaced by water.
奶茶店的倒闭潮已经开始了。
The wave of milk tea shop closures has already begun, and this round is particularly severe. According to media reports, over 10,000 tea shops across China disappeared between June and July. Well-known brands like Nai Xue, Hey Tea, and Auntie Jenny are among them. The largest closure scale belongs to Shuyu Grass Jelly, which shut down over 1,600 stores nationwide in the past 3 months. Many franchise owners were left devastated, some in tears. The most alarming thing is that the life cycle of brand stores has plummeted from 2 to 3 years down to just 2 months. In other words, a new shop barely makes it past the discount and promotion phase before they have to consider closing. Why is the milk tea industry struggling so much right now? This woman analyzed that there are 3 main reasons behind the mass closures of milk tea shops, with the biggest being consumption downgrades. Previously, people had stable jobs and high income expectations, so spending 10 or 20 on a milk tea didn't feel like much. But now, with companies talking about layoffs and pay cuts every day, people hesitate even to spend 20 yuan on a meal, let alone milk tea. After the consumption downgrade, non-essential items like tea and coffee are among the first to be cut. Secondly, the milk tea industry is too competitive. The technical barriers for making milk tea aren't high. It's just tea bags, creamer, and flavored syrups mixed together. This means almost anyone can open a tea shop, leading to streets filled with more than 10 tea stores. Some are franchise chains, while others are opened by young people who couldn't find jobs after graduation, with their families investing 500,000 yuan to help them start a milk tea business. As a result, the competition has become fiercer and fiercer. Lastly, young people have become more conscious. Milk tea has no nutritional value and is high in sugar and fat, so why spend so much money to harm your health? Nowadays, young people are not so easy to fool as they used to be. In the face of such a consumption crisis, there's little that milk tea shops can do. They can only hope to survive the economic winter. During this year's June 18th and Double 11 shopping festivals, major platforms launched various discount events to stimulate spending. However, the young consumer base was less interested in splurging. Instead, people joined group buying deals and helped each other out by sharing red envelopes. Pinduoduo's refund without return policy has become a favorite tool for young people to exploit, leading some small businesses to go bankrupt due to these extreme bargain hunters. Some shared that this consumption downgrade has made them wiser. I've learned to find endless joy and satisfaction within limited resources. Even with rising prices today, I've managed to maintain a peace of mind, and life has become simpler and more beautiful. It's taught me that true happiness never comes from material wealth, but from inner contentment and tranquility. More and more young people are realizing, instead of trying to prove how hard they're working, it's better to confidently declare, "I'm broke." Not only does this protect them from being exploited as consumers, but it also grants them a sense of financial freedom, at least mentally. One of the latest trends among young people is what's called broke-style shopping. In other words, window shopping. It can also be called research-style shopping. Even if they can't afford anything, they still want to keep up with the latest trends. They might start by using a discount coupon to buy the cheapest milk tea to carry around, then visit fast fashion stores to try on the latest clothes, shoes, and bags. They'll stop by a boutique to admire the fluffy little trinkets or head to a makeup store to sample the newest beauty products. If they're lucky, they might find a counter having a promotion, where signing up as a member gets you free samples. These branded samples can last a few days without costing a penny. Lastly, they might visit a mall offering free food samples, filling up while they browse, and then head home satisfied. Young people have finally realized that there are 100 ways to enjoy themselves at the mall, and shopping is actually the least cost-effective one. A few years ago, many young people were passionate about shopping, believing that wild spending was a symbol of wealth and success. Even those with little money would save for months to max out their credit cards, or even take out consumer loans to buy a designer handbag or the latest smartphone, all for the sake of vanity. But now the popular phrase is, luxury goods are just for looking, whoever buys them is a fool. While this shift in consumer mindset comes with a touch of sarcasm, it also shows young people are starting to face reality with more rational thinking. After all, who knows what the future holds? As people are saying, although 2024 has been a tough year, arguably the hardest in a decade, there's no telling whether it might actually be the best year of the next 10. So it's better to take it easy, plan ahead, and save for the future. Many who have tried a low-desire lifestyle have realized that life doesn't actually cost much as long as you avoid eating out, buying clothes, drinking milk tea, shopping online, or buying property. There's an old Chinese saying about clothes: 3 years new, 3 years old, and 3 more years patched up. Since the CCP came to power, from the Great Famine to the Cultural Revolution, about 40 or 50 years ago, most Chinese people couldn't even meet their basic needs. This instilled a deep sense of frugality in the older generation. However, who could have predicted that with only a few good years, Xi Jinping's leadership would take the country on a sharp reverse course? With politics regressing, how can economic decline be avoided? Argentina, Venezuela, and Iran are all living examples. Could it be that Xi Jinping, often referred to as Mao 2.0, is leading China back into another period of hardship? The older generation, having endured hardships, might be able to cope with another man-made famine. But for today's young people who grew up in relative comfort, especially those born in the 1990s and 2000s, are accustomed to being taken care of. It's a harsh reality to face. Just when they were supposed to become independent, they were hit by the challenges of this era. For these young people who have never experienced tough times, living in an even more difficult environment will be a true test.